Welcome back. You're watching Good Morning Cameroon on STV. It's 7:31. It's time for us to look at what the newspapers are saying in the country. Newspapers that will be hitting stands in just a matter of minutes around the national territory. If you were doubting, or if you still had any doubt, well, today is not a public holiday. That's why we have all these newspapers here. Well, for those who were hoping that today would be Ramadan, the feast of the Ramadan itself, well, sorry, it just isn't. And so today's a public holiday. If you're still at home, it's time for you to run to work, okay? Let's begin this morning, of course, with the newspapers in the English language. Well, it's going to be the newspapers in the English language only because I'm by myself. Unfortunately, Chris, Nassis are not here. So I'm going to be handling the papers in the English language strictly because, well, I can't take the risk of reviewing the papers in the French language. My French is certainly not that good. Now, we're starting today with the Guardian Post Daily. And on the front page of the newspaper, we read, family drags CRTV to court for announcing Chemuta Banda died of COVID-19. The paper continues, prominent lawyer says deceased family could claim at least $500 million from TFA for damages suffered. Untold story of how family doctor lawyer frustrated medic's attempt to falsely link the late National Rights Commission chair's death to coronavirus. And of course, on the front page of the Guardian Post Daily, pictures first of the late Dr. Chemuta Banda and also Charles Ndongo, CRTV's general manager. You can get the details of this story in today's edition of the Guardian Post. And of course, you flip to page 3. Other stories on the front page of the Guardian Post newspaper. We read this one. Another English language newspaper publisher dies. That story by Maxwell Fokwenchik would tell you about exactly what newspaper publisher they're referring to. And of course, you know what to do to get the details of this story. More in the pages of the Guardian Post Daily. South Region, Dio threatens to dethrone chief who rubbished rejected BS anti-COVID-19 kits. Details on page 2 of the Guardian Post newspaper. Senator Barrister Henry Kemende loses father. Sad. More on page 10 of the Guardian Post newspaper. And to end with the Guardian Post, we have this story. Police inspector allegedly rapes pregnant girl in Banjul. Allegedly, the paper says clearly. And you can learn more on this story in the inner pages of this Friday's edition of the Guardian Post newspaper. Now to the low national bilingual daily Cameroon Tribune, and of course we'll focus on the stories that appear on the front page in the English language. President Biya tells Cameroonians we must remain united, supportive, disciplined. Of course, the paper is making reference to the head of state's address on the 19th of May 2020. You can get more on the story from page 2 down to page 13 of Cameroon Tribune. It's a number of stories that all cover the head of state's address. Well, that's the only story on the front page in the English language. Actually, just 2 on the front page, one in English, one in French, and all of them have to do with the head of state's address. And well, that does it for the press review on Good Morning Cameroon this Friday, May 22nd. You can be sure that if you go to the newspaper stands today, you will see mutation, which also talks about President Biya on the front. I mean, every paper is talking about President Biya's speech. You be sure to get Repère also. That will be available this morning. L'économie quotidien, of course, that too is available. I see we have Le Messager, L'Œil du Sahel, Perspective Nouvelle. These are the newspapers that are available. You can run to the nearest kiosk or nearest newspaper stand and get yourself copies of this paper. Definitely, there's also Le Jour and Relais d'Afrique. So, you know, all these papers are out. These and many more produced today. They have fresh editions out there. After 2 days of no newspapers, it would be nice to catch up on all that is making news in Cameroon and even out. So that's it for the press review on Good Morning Cameroon this morning. You know what to do to get the details of the stories. The headlines were read out to you. Also, the newspapers were unable to bring to you, and the newspapers in the French language. You go to a newspaper stand, you get yourself a copy or copies of the newspapers, or you can simply download online and read. It's time for us to go get some music. Let's go get some music.
Matama.
Uba Fuyuga.
Uti yule.
Mbolo. Martin Chubla.
Soko biwo. Aba. Menabuna habuki maholio.
Jamna.
Agazane amyofu.
Abala. Gaga chiangu. Bolo.
Dari jam piko jam. Madala.
Befma se patwaze. Meradeo.
Monsieur Sonogala.
Ma fin la andi lam.
Ebi muduko.
Gavine ron la top.